Hey everybody, my name is Amanda Zieba and I am so excited you are here today to hear all about the December pre-planned calendar. I create this every month for members of the Word Nerd Collaborative and ELA teacher membership. If that's you, hi, so glad you're here. It's good to see you as always. If that's not you and you want to learn more about the Word Nerd Collaborative and even try a free sample of the content that I create for these people, these amazing teacher people, I will put a link down in the video description box for you to check it out. Amazing news. I'm opening the doors again for more little word nerds to join us in January. So, if you love what you see and you want to be in on all the cool, where the cool kids are, I'll put those links down there. Definitely check them out. I know that the holidays are a crazy and chaotic time, not only like in our personal lives outside of school, but within the walls of school, and that all the students bring their holiday hullabaloo into your classroom as well. And it can be a lot. And so that's why I'm super excited to share this calendar with you in hopes that it does a few things. One, that it engages your students. Two, that it teaches them something. And three, that it saves you time. Those are always my goals in my edutainment efforts, is to accomplish good things to make your kids want to be in your room, to make you want to be in your room. Everybody have a little fun and learn something in the process. So let us jump right into that calendar right away. Because I know we're all busy and we got stuff to do. So let's jump into it. As I have told you, this is over 100 pages this month, 113 to be exact. It is jam-packed with goodness for you. I always start out with a letter to you, letting you know where my thoughts are at this month, and as I'm thinking about you, what I think might be helpful. I'm not going to read this letter to you now because I know y'all can do that. So there is a little welcome for you. And then the table of contents, as always, everything is linked, hyperlinked within the document. This is also uploaded to the Word Nerd Collaborative website, ready for you to go there. You can find it on the pre-planned calendar pages. We're going to talk about these opportunities to connect in a little bit as we look at the calendar, but because of all the holiday hullabaloo and schedule chaos, we've had to move things around a little bit. So here's some important dates for you to know for those of you who are in the Word Nerd Collaborative. Our November lunch bunch has been moved to the first week in December, based on Thanksgiving school schedules, and also the NCTE conference was in Texas earlier this week, and so like no authors were. Everybody who is an author was there, and they were not able to Zoom with us. So December 6th, we are having our November lunch bunch, and the author Catherine McGee, who wrote American Royals, she is going to be joining us. So super excited about that. Then our December lunch bunch is going to be January 10th. Hopefully everyone will be back from winter break by then. And then our January lunch bunch will be January 31st. So if you want to mark these on your calendar, they're a little different than usual, so that you can set aside that time to come. And I hope you all will be there. We've got 4 first chapter Fridays this month: A Night Divided, The Red Queen, Let It Glow, Inkheart, a little bit of something for everybody. As usual, I try to spread these out. A Night Divided is historical fiction. The Red Queen is dystopian fantasy. Let It Glow is realistic fiction surrounding both the holidays of Christmas and Hanukkah, and it's amazing. And then Inkheart is one of my most favorite books about books. It is a fantasy novel, the first in a series of 3. So I'll tell you more about each of those when we get down to them. I have 5 brain breaks for you this month because I know that it's going to be a crazy month and people are going to need a little bit of a break a little more often. So we've got red and white trivia, 2 different kinds of Christmas trivia, and then Hanukkah trivia. As always, we've got a writing prompt for every day of the month. And as we're going through these writing prompts, I know that you won't be in school as often in December as you normally are. So what I would recommend when you're looking through all these prompts is to pick out your favorites for the days that you actually will be in school. And so it's kind of like a choose your own adventure situation with writing prompts this month. Lessons. I'm so excited about the ones that I have here for you. Page versus Screen is a brand new resource that I've created. So even if you've gotten stuff from my Teachers Pay Teachers store before, this is a brand new one that I'm fired up to tell you about. The novel soundtrack project got an upgrade, a makeover, a facelift, all the things. So I'm excited to show you what's new about that. And then another brand new resource is a holiday one-pager. And this was my attempt to make this December pre-planned calendar inclusive and holistic when we're talking about holidays. I know not everyone celebrates Christmas. A lot of us do. Awesome. Not everyone does. Also great. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to lean into others' traditions and holidays and personal interests. And so that is the opportunity to do that. Also, when we talk about additional resources, I know that December is also a time when people frequently show movies, and for good reason. And so I wanted to give you some additional resources that lean into that practice and habit. And then also a Wow Pow How Now writing prompt sheet that was inspired by some real life events. So I will talk to you about all those things when we get down there. But first, let's talk about our first chapter Fridays. I'm going to go to grid view here for a second before I stop screen sharing because I wanted to show you some members had requested that I give you these preview posters to hang up in your classroom. So I have added those to this as well as one full poster that shows all of them. I also, for the Word Nerd Collaborative members, I gave you a link to this Canva document so that you can make changes to anything that you want. And so like if you were to go in there and you were to take out my picture and the Word Nerd recommends and you put in your picture and your name, you can totally do that. So let me stop screen sharing right now and tell you about each of these amazing stories. Okay, so the first one is called A Night Divided by Jennifer A. Nielsen, and she has written many, many, many books. This is the second book of hers that I had discovered. I read it out loud to my 6th grade students, chapter by chapter, and oh my goodness, you guys, we were on the edge of our seats like all the time. I know the students always beg you to read like one more chapter, but this is one where I was totally tempted to give in to them because I wanted to know what was going to happen just as badly as they did. So here's the situation. Sorry, not in front of my face. Greta's the main character. She lives in Berlin. And her father and her brother go to the other side of the city for work frequently. And one day while they are gone, their job takes longer than they thought, so they end up not coming back home. They end up sleeping over at a friend's house. And in the middle of the night, the Berlin Wall is erected. And so now Greta and her mother, and I think one of her brothers, are on the east side of Berlin, the controlled side. And her father and her other brother are on the free side, on the west side, the Berlin Wall. At first, nobody really knows what's happening or how long this is going to last, but the longer it goes on, the scarier and scarier it gets. And Greta knows that she has to get out, or very bad things are going to happen to her and her family. And so she and her brother start digging to try to escape and get to the other side of the wall. And this book, I didn't know a ton about this particular event. I know it's a really big event. I know the wall came down when I was, a kid. But in general, war stuff makes me very nervous and I have bad dreams, so I just try to stay away from it sometimes. But this book was enough suspense without giving me nightmares, and it completely sucked us in, and we learned a ton of new things along the way. So I highly recommend A Night Divided by Jennifer A. Nielsen. You're not going to want to put it down. Next up is The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, and this is the first in a series of, I think initially it was 3, but now there's lots of other spin-off novels. It's dystopian. If you love The Hunger Games, if you love The Maze Runner, if you love Divergent, you will love The Red Queen. And here's the situation in this story. So in this particular world, there are people who have red blood, average humans, and then there are people who have silver blood. And the people who have silver blood also have powers. Probably not surprising to you that the people who have silver blood are the wealthy people and are the people who are in charge of everything and everybody. And they make all these rules and they're not very nice to the reds. Well, one day, Mare, the main character, who has red blood, accidentally discovers that she has powers. This is a big fat deal, you guys, because the silver people don't want anyone to know that people with red blood could potentially have power, because it's the way that they keep everything in check by telling these people that they have no power. But what if they do? What if they discover that they do? So they have to make up this whole elaborate scheme as to why this woman with red blood would have powers. And it's all these lies and all this deceit, and then there's a love triangle. It's gripping. It is fantastic. It is such a great story. I think you're really gonna love it. And Victoria Aveyard is just like a total boss of a human. So I really like her too. Okay, Let It Glow is by Marissa Meyer. She wrote Cinder, so you might remember her name. And by Joanne Levy, who I am not familiar with. But what this book does, it's so cool because each of the authors picked a main character and wrote a chapter from their perspective, and it goes back and forth and back and forth. So these two authors wrote this one book together. Super great. One of the characters, her name is Holly. The other character's name is Aviva. They are identical twins, separated at birth, but adopted in the same town by different families. One day, they end up at a community center, the same community center in their town, but for whatever reason, in their 12 years of existence, they have never crossed paths before, except now that they have. And they know that they are identical sisters because they're identical. They're twins, right? But they want to keep it a secret. And they want to do this big reveal at the holiday pageant at the community center. Before that happens, they decide that they're going to switch places. So here's where the parent trappy part comes in. So Aviva goes to Holly's house because she wants to learn what Christmas is like. And Holly goes to Aviva's house because she wants to learn what Hanukkah is like. And so it says, swapping homes for the holidays. What could possibly go wrong? This book is fun. It is lighthearted. You learn lots of great things about both holidays. And it's really fun to see the way that these characters, their stories, like literally collide together and how they write a new story moving forward. Really fun. A perfect book for the holidays. And then the last one that I picked for this month is one of my all-time favorites because it's a book about books. And it is Inkheart by Cornelia Funke. You can see that it is a major motion picture. It is now a movie. I didn't like the movie, but I rarely do. Anyways, this is a beast of a book. It is huge. If you like big fat fantasy books, you're gonna love this one. Maggie lives with her father, who is a bookbinder. So he like repairs old antique books. And her dad's name is Mo, and he has a special power. And that power is that when he reads out loud, things from the book come to life in the real world. But for everything that comes out of the book, something must be sucked back in. And one night when Maggie is very little, her dad is reading out loud. And up until that point, just like little things had come out of the story, like a butterfly or like a little gecko or something. But on this night that he is reading out loud, the villain of the story comes to life. And for everything that goes out, something has to go back in. And the size of the thing that goes out and the size of the thing that comes back in are kind of comparable. And so this villain comes out, and Maggie's mother is sucked into the story, and they don't know how to get her out. So for the last however many years, 10 years or so, this villain has been chasing Maggie and her dad because he wants to go back into his story. He doesn't really like being in the real world. And they also want to get Maggie's mom back, and it's been this huge secret. And now suddenly Maggie figures out, and she's like, we got to do something about this. Like, we're not running anymore. Let's figure it out. Oh, and it is so stinking good. It is the first in a series of 3. I know if you love fantasy books, you are going to love this one. So those are the first chapter Fridays we have for the month. Let's continue on with our brain breaks. I'm going to share my screen again. And here we are. Okay, so the first brain break that I have for you this month is Red Trivia. I redid this. I wanted to improve the font quality and also some of the images. So if you have an old version of this video, it will still work. I just made it unlisted on YouTube. And now I have this new and improved version because as we learn and grow, we can do better. And so we make improvements along the way. We always have the fill in the blank type answer sheets, and then the multiple choice answer sheets. and then the question and answer sheets. You can use these with or without the video. Remember that every brain break has around 300 words to it. So whether they're reading them on the page or they're reading them on screen, not only are you building background knowledge with this general trivia knowledge and creating fun in your classroom, you're also sneakily getting your students to read around 300 words a time. So that's like a page and a half of text. They would much rather do this than read a page and a half of text, let me tell you. So we've got red trivia. And then we have white trivia, questions about things like the Yeti and the snowiest city and whiteout, and waving the white flag and lead white face paint and, panda bear skin, powdered sugar donuts, all sorts of trivia questions about things that are white. Then we have two Christmas trivia videos. This first one leans into, some kind of fun random Christmas facts, a lot of secular trivia about food and movies and songs and just different traditions that go along with the Christmas holiday. Sometimes things are like for the movies in Home Alone, where the McAllisters going on vacation when they leave Kevin behind. On average, how long does it take Hallmark to film a Christmas video? True or false, Jingle Bells was the first song played in space. So all sorts of fun holiday facts for you in that one. And then the second Christmas trivia video I have for you is Christmas Around the World, and it's asking all sorts of questions about the different ways in which different countries celebrate Christmas. They're kind of fun holiday traditions that might seem a little bit quirky to us because they're not what we typically do. For example, let's see, Bolivians bring what animal to Mass on Christmas Eve? Do you know? Fruitcake originated in what country? In Norway, what do people hide on Christmas Eve? In which country is it tradition to eat deep-fried caterpillars to celebrate Christmas? So all sorts of fun, quirky trivia for you there. And then the final trivia video is Hanukkah trivia. I actually had my friend Heidi, who is Jewish, help me with this trivia video because I wanted to be, I was like, Heidi, I'm not sure that I will be able to research this and know this as much as you because this is your lived experience. And so I'm so grateful to her to have helped me out with this. Just like we did with the Veterans Day trivia, I created a one-pager of nonfiction information because I wasn't sure as many students would know the history and the meaning behind this holiday. And so it might be fun. If I were doing this in my classroom, what I would do is I would give the students these two question sheets first, okay, and say, make your best guess, maybe with a pencil, right? Then I would go back and I would give them the nonfiction page and I would have them read and then make any corrections or re-guess on some of their questions that they might have. And then I would go to the video and I would play the video and have them check their own answers as they go. So it would just be a way to extend what would be just a 10-minute brain break to perhaps a longer reading comprehension / cultural activity lesson. If I were doing it in my class, that's what I would do. So those are your brain breaks for today, or not today, for this month. And then when we get to the writing prompts, as I was saying, I know that in December we don't meet for every single school day because of the holidays. So I would look through these and I would find the ones that you think your students will be most excited about. Or you could skip the Free Write Friday, depending on how your students feel about Free Write Friday. If they really love it, I wouldn't take it away from them. But if they're only kind of ho-hum about it, maybe you skip those and you just do all of the targeted prompts. So a few of my ultimate favorite ones are this snowflake one. It asks students to pretend that they are a snowflake and describe their descent from a cloud to the earth. Focusing specifically on what they see. You could do some great science connections with this when we're talking about like the water cycle and vapor and liquid and solid and all of that. I know my son is in 6th grade science and they were recently talking about that. So you could work with the science teacher to make some really great cross-cultural connection or cross-content connections there. Another one of my favorites is this polar bear one. It says, create a scene of dialogue between the characters in this picture. If the Eskimo inside the igloo could clearly communicate with the polar bears, what would they say to each other? And this would be a really great way to also review what dialogue is and how you punctuate it correctly. So you can tie it into specifically into a language lesson there. There are a couple of quotes that I use from Inkheart, and also there's one from, I thought one of our other first chapter Fridays, there's another quote pulled from the story. So it's kind of fun again for students to see these books in multiple contexts. Here's one other fun one before we head on to the lessons, but write a scene using this prompt. Anna opened her front door hoping to retrieve a package. Amazon said it would be here by today, and she needed that to be true. But what she found when she swung wide her wreath-adorned front door wasn't a brown paper wrapped package. Instead, it was a message written in the snow, and it said, so this would be really fun because you could work in the message, but also you could, like, how does that package fit into the story? Do these two things go together? So I think there's a lot of room for creativity and fun with that prompt. All right, let's get to our lessons. I mentioned before that December is often a time when teachers choose to show movies just because people are ready to tap out, and it's a little bit of an easier way to keep people engaged. And so if you want to make those lessons more educational, or if you maybe need to convince your principal that it is a worthy activity of your time and sanity saving, here is an academic lesson that you could connect to it. It connects directly to RL 6.5, 6.7, and 6.9, or if you level it up, 7.5, 7.7, 7.9. And what you do is you read the first chapter of a chosen story. You can either do this with a physical book that you have, or you can just go on Amazon, type in the title, and then click read sample, and you'll be able to read the sample of that book, that first chapter, right there online for free. So step 1 is read chapter 1. Step 2 is to go to a website called screenwritersnetwork.org and search for your movie scripts. They have the actual movie scripts for almost every movie on this website. So then once you find your movie script, you will read the first scene, or as many scenes as correlate to the first chapter of the book. It's going to look different, okay? Physically on the page and also in the information given. This slideshow right here, let me see if it'll let me head to it. Yes. This slideshow right here is free. It's linked in here for you. And it's going to tell you about those other things that you're going to see on the page and what they mean. Things like interior and exterior shots, fade-ins, fade-outs, cut to, voiceover. So they're going to tell you what some of those abbreviations mean and help you better understand that screenplay. Step 3 is you're going to watch the movie, okay? You can watch as long as you'd like. I'd recommend watching just the first scene that correlates to the first chapter, like watching as far as the first chapter goes and then as far as you had read in the screenplay. And then you're going to do these activities that I'm going to explain to you next. And there's like 4 or 5 of them. You can pick the one that you want to do. But I would wait or hold off on showing the whole movie until you have done like the work part. Like use the end of the movie or the last 3/4 of the movie as your reward for completing the work. Okay. Also, then it will give you time to grade that work while your students watch the movie, and then you won't have to take any homework to grade home over Christmas. Hooray. It's a great plan. Okay. So, a variety of things you can do. So first I would take notes using this sheet, and we're just going to compare how the either writer or the screenwriter, the author or the screenwriter, and then the movie producer portrayed these elements. So you'll write down the title and the author or the writer, the characters, setting, conflict, point of view, additional details. Again, this is a great review of story elements, one of those foundational skills that we can touch on again and again. And then it's going to ask you, once you have read all 3 versions, reviewed all 3 versions, and taken these notes, It says, now that you've experienced 3 different forms of the story, which do you prefer and why? Which version was the strongest, most impactful, and most enjoyable? Why? Jot a few notes down below and then use the back of this page to write a full response per your teacher's instructions. So this is just going to get you going. If you already have a response activity that you ask your students to do, you can just use this as a pre-writing for that, or just expand this based on what you're needing your students to accomplish this month based on your scope and sequence or whatever plan you and your team have put together. It's a really easy way to just transition into that thing that you already have them do, but this way in a little bit more fun way. Okay, so 3 different versions, take notes, and then ask yourself, what do you like better and why? All right, compare and contrast. This is going to ask you to look at the blurb. So that is the blurb is the little description that comes on the back of the book or in a hardcover in the inside front cover or on Amazon, the description that they give you. Okay, so you're going to read that and then you're going to watch the movie trailer. So go to YouTube and type in cart movie trailer and watch that. You're going to take some notes on both different versions. Ask yourself while you are experiencing those 2 different introductions to the story, was character or plot more strongly emphasized? How did this focus impact my first impression? Did the introduction lean heavily into the celebrity status of the author, creators, and actors? So like for the authors of when I was talking about Let It Glow, okay, one of those authors is super famous, okay? One of them, not as much. Totally okay. But because people know Marissa Meyer, are they gonna be more excited to read that book than if they didn't know either of the authors at all? Or because a certain actor, showing my age here because I don't even know who's a big deal right now, but because a certain actor is in a movie, are people going to want to watch it more than if that actor weren't in the movie? And then what additional elements, images, sound effects, music, visuals, endorsements, awards were present? How did they affect your first impression? After you've taken notes on both of those things, using this Venn diagram, you can answer this question. Overall, which introduction version, the blurb or the movie trailer, did a better job of making you want to read or experience the story? Why? Be specific. What elements pulled you in? Again, you can use just this space or you can expand that into a larger writing prompt. After you've done these things, there are 4 options for extension activities. I'm just going to go through each of them in order. I know you can read, but maybe I'll give you a little extra ideas or emphasis as we're going through it. So option number 1, using what you know about screenplays, write a script for you and a partner or a small group, introducing your audience to a story that has been turned into both a book and a movie. In your script, highlight several positive features from each form. Encourage your audience to experience both versions and then make up their mind about which was better, the book or the movie. Practice your script and then perform it for your classmates. So all of the notes that we were taking in the previous activities would help inform this final piece of writing or performance. You could practice your speaking and listening skills, your fluency skills, all sorts of goodness there. Okay, option 2 is to create a billboard promoting your chosen story. Include information about both the book and the movie, about the writers and the actors. Work to include story elements and visually represent them in an appealing and clear way. Your goal is to convince students to give this book and or movie a try. So this could be super fun for a bulletin board or a display in the hallway near conferences or done as a gallery walk around the desks. Everybody put their poster, their billboard out on their desk and you could all walk around and take a look at that. Option 3 is to create a PowerPoint or slideshow presentation explaining the difference between the multiple versions of the story. Add in your opinions of how you think the author would feel about the way their story is being presented now. Do your best to include specific examples of all 3 versions, book, screenplay, and movie. That one's a little bit more of a traditional assignment, but again, allowing kids to express their ideas in both visuals and words can sometimes be more appealing to them, especially when we allow adding in the use of technology. And then option four is probably the most creative, most fun, most extra version on the list. And it says create your own trailer video for the book. Canva and iMovie will work well for this. Work to include as many story elements as possible and also film effects like music. Study other examples to give you ideas. Keep the target audience and what will appeal to them in mind. So no matter what option you choose, I hope that you have fun showcasing what they have learned. And you can take that whole like, we're watching a movie thing to the next level and not only engage your students, but impress your administration. So Novel Soundtrack Project is not anything new to me, to the Word Nerd Collaborative, to my Teachers Pay Teachers resource store, but I did give it a facelift, a little bit of a makeover. Again, this lesson is great at checking off a bunch of standards so you can be sure that you are providing rigor to your students. But what this asks you to do very quickly is to pretend that the book you have just read is going to be turned into a movie, and you have been tasked with choosing the songs for the soundtrack. The job is to choose 4 songs, include the title and the artist and group for each song, and include some of the lyrics for each song, and then write responses for the when and why questions, and correctly capitalize throughout. So just the other day, I was helping my son with an essay for his freshman English course, and he was trying to write down some things in MLA citation. And we were looking at titles, and his titles were not capitalized. And I was like, "Hey, bud, like, come on now, you gotta do this. We gotta capitalize these titles." I was like, just like, and I grabbed a book off his bookshelf, and I was like, "Oh, not this one." I was like, "Okay, like this," and I grabbed it. I was like, "Oh, not this one." Like, so many book designers and people in the artistic world are going for the visual appeal of what things look like as opposed to what is correct when it comes to capitalization and punctuation. Um, and like it's an institutional thing, we're not going to fix that. But because of it, I believe, just like automatic flushing toilets, our kids don't know what's right. They don't know how to do the thing because they don't see it done. So this is a really fun and easy way to cover pronouns, not pronouns, to cover proper nouns and what things actually need to be capitalized and what things do not. It's also going to ask them to design an album cover. Again, all of this was in the old version of the assignment, but now it's just in a prettier version and like a printable version that you can hand out to them rather than just show on a slideshow. I've got a sample in here from the Hunger Games. I've got these sheets that students can use to take some notes while they're working, or they could even use these for their final copies. When would you play this song in the movie, and why does this song fit with this scene? Here's another final copy. This is actually a pre-writing sheet that they can use for their album cover ideas, and then the final copy sheet. And then I do provide a rubric here for you that you can use for assessing it. Again, people who are in the Word Nerd Collaborative, I've given you access to this document so you can make your own copy and you can change the point totals or the categories, whatever you want to make it most applicable to you and your students. This is the one I am most excited about for this resource, for this pre-planned calendar, and that is the Holiday Research one-pager. And what you're going to do is you're going to tell students to head to a website called nationaltoday.com. And we're actually going to go there so I can show you what this looks like. But nationaltoday.com is a website that tells us about every single little silly holiday we've ever heard about on the radio, and then some that we haven't. For example, did you know that in addition to Thanksgiving and Black Friday, we also have Chadwick Boseman Day and also National Lemon Cream Pie Day? And what else? What else do we have this month to celebrate? All Saints Day, Mickey Mouse Day, Stir Up Sunday, National Sardines Day, Better Conversation Week. So you're going to ask your students to come to this website and to identify a holiday that they are very interested in learning about. They are going to, there we go. Sorry, my internet is a bit lagging. They are going to use that website and also any other traditional research resources that they would like books or other websites, encyclopedias, things like that. And they're going to record pertinent information about this holiday. Then they will decide on a method of sharing, and then they will present, they will share about this. So, this is their one pager that they will record their facts on, their holiday, the date it's celebrated, their own name. And then I've divided the research up into three different categories because sometimes when we say like, what do you need to know about this? That's so big. It's like not directed. And so if we give our students a specific task or things that they're looking for, they're going to be more productive in their research. This is also us showing them like, hey, this is the important stuff you should be finding about this particular topic. I'll never forget when I was in fifth grade, we had to do a research project for presidents, and we had to write down some facts about all of the presidents. And my nerdy little friends and I, we worked so hard on this. We even went to the public library and we like wrote pages and pages and pages of all of these notes, right? And then we had to take a test on this stuff. And like we couldn't like memorize what college they all went to and like what their wife's name was and like all this stuff that we had researched, right? They just wanted like the one most important thing that this person had done, which we probably wrote down along with 75 other things. And I was like, this stinks because I failed this test, but I worked harder than anybody else. So we have to, I use this life experience to help me be a better teacher and help you be a better teacher. And that is, we have to tell them what they're looking for. Okay. So when they're looking at these holidays, they're looking for activities and events, people and places, and any additional details. And even when I say additional details, I called it out. Possible topics may include food, clothing, decorations, information about the history of the holiday could also go here. So they'll use nationaltoday.com to find a fun holiday. They will then use that site as well to research. They can use additional sites as well, record their information here, and then they've got different project options or sharing options. Again, I'm just going to go through these really quickly. The first option would be to create a collage using drawings, photographs, magazine clippings, written facts, textiles, food wrappers, or any other items you choose to showcase and communicate the important aspects of their holiday and the way that it is celebrated. This would be a great opportunity to collaborate with your art teacher. Option two, another collaboration option here with the home ec teacher or perhaps like a nutrition teacher or maybe even your science teacher. Create a recipe book of meals and foods that correspond to each student's chosen holiday. Some might require some creative thinking. Bonus. So like if you're doing National Dog Lovers Day, like maybe you create dog biscuits or like hot dogs or something. I'm not sure. That might have gone wrong, but you know what I'm saying. Be creative. Ask students to include 2 additional facts about the holiday on their recipe page and also utilize fonts, colors, and images in the style or vibe of the holiday. If you want to go the extra mile, have a holiday feast featuring the items from your cookbook. Number 3, create a PowerPoint or slideshow, a presentation showcasing the basic information about your holiday through both visuals and words. Number 4, create a podcast transcript in which one student interviews another about their chosen holiday. Students can either record their podcasts or perform them live. And then number 5 is my most favorite. Take your one-page fact sheet to a younger classroom and teach your buddy about a chosen holiday. So at my kids' elementary school, they always had buddies. So the 5th graders partnered up with the 2nd graders, 4th graders, the 1st graders, 3rd graders, the kindergartners. And they would go to their little buddy's classroom and they would do activities and crafts and read stories. And so I thought it would be super fun for your students to take their fact sheet and also a picture book related to their holiday and go to their buddy's classroom and tell them all about the holiday and then read the story with them. I think that would be the just most fun. And again, holiday time, people are looking for fun activities to do. I guarantee that your younger buddy classroom teacher would just be thrilled that you're going to come in and provide, 30 minutes worth of educational edutainment to her students or his students. So I just think it's a win-win-win all the way around. And then again, I have a rubric for you should you feel the need to assess this. All right, additional resources. We're almost to the end, friends. We are almost there. Here are a couple of things that you can also use for books into movies. This YouTube video is only 4 minutes long, but I highlight 19 books on my YouTube channel in the form of First Chapter Fridays that also have been turned into movies. So if you have students who are really motivated by this idea of reading a book and then watching a movie, or maybe they've watched a movie and now they want to read the book version because they loved it so much, that will preview 19 of them very, very quickly for you. And then also this playlist has all of them. 25 books on my channel have been turned into movies, so you can use those. Side note, my family and I are going to see the best Christmas pageant ever on Wednesday, and I'm so excited. All right. Book recommendation flow charts. One of the members of our Word Nerd Collaborative membership said, hey, those flow charts, could you make one of them for books that have been turned into movies? And I said, yes, Kenzie, what a lovely idea. I would love to do that. So here is this one for you. If you're not sure, if you don't want to give your students this whole playlist and watch them waste their time trying to pick the best one out of 25, you could start by giving them this flow chart and then using these questions to lead them to one of these 12 selections. The last additional resource that I have for you is a Wow, Pow, How, Now sheet. And so the really quick backstory on this is that my cousin asks her 4-year-old every night at dinner, what was your wow, what was your pow, and what was your chow? So your wow is the best thing that happened to you today. Your pow is the thing that was like, punch it out of here. I don't want that. Kick it to the curb. Like your redo, what or what didn't go well for the day. And then the chow is the best thing that they ate for the day. So when I thought about this in like big kid terms or perhaps like productive terms, I took the wow and the pow, keep those the same. What was the best thing of the day? What was the pow thing you want to punch to the curb? And then the next question is how? How can I utilize this information right now? Or how am I going to maximize this wow moment? Or how am I going to repair my pow moment? And then the now is like, what's the next best step I can take? What can I do about that right now? And so I thought about this in the context of like basketball practice for my kids. Like, what was the best thing about practice? What was the worst thing about practice? How can I either lean into that good thing and do more of it? How can I fix that bad thing? And then what am I going to do about it right now? Like, am I going to go shoot more free throws? Am I going to tell my teammate I'd appreciate it if he passed more? Am I going to tell my coach that I really liked when he said this to me because it was motivating? Like, what are you going to do about it right now? So you could use this in any situation. It might be like a great Monday morning writing prompt. It might be like a great conflict resolution writing prompt. It might be a great, oh, we had a bad sub report writing prompts. Or it could be just like, we just got done with the most amazing Christmas performance, holiday performance ever. Like, let's think about it. You can use it, you can do it quarterly, you can pull it out multiple times. So I know I'm dirty, but I love it. And then I close out as always with a letter to you guys. And for those of you who are members of the Word Nerd Collaborative, my Christmas present, my holiday present to all of you, sorry, I keep saying Christmas, my holiday present to all of you is a half an hour of my time. So I'm going to send you a Google Doc to sign up for a time slot, but I would love to just chat with you for like a half hour. Like, what do you need for this upcoming semester? What can I help you plan? What books are you trying to find and have been unsuccessful with? What new books are you going to use that we can brainstorm some great ideas together with how to implement highly engaging and fun things? But I want to give you that because I know that time is like the ultimate resource. And so I would love to share mine and my ideas with you for that. So that is the December pre-planned calendar. If you are not a member and you want to purchase it, it's available on TPT. Obviously, it's a lot more affordable to be in the membership, which I would love for you to do because we have so much fun there. And it's so great to know that you are not in this world, in this teaching job alone. We can do it together. So happy holidays, happy teaching, happy reading, happy writing, all of the things. I will see you again next month with another pre-planned calendar or in the Word Nerd Facebook group. And as always, you can email me at any time wordnerd@amandazieba.com, because I'm here to help you and I want to help you make your job a little bit more manageable. I want you to make your classroom a place you actually want to be and your students want to be. So that's it. I'll see you again next time.